In Zimbabwe, the rains come principally in December, January, February, and March. The further north you are, the earlier the precipitation arrives and the later it leaves. Zimbabwe's higher eastern areas usually receive more rainfall than the lower lying western ones. By April and May, most of the rain is gone, leaving a verdant setting which is starting to dry out. Especially in more southerly and higher locations, the nighttime temperatures start to drop. But lately, this appears to be changing. To help us unpack the latest weather phenomenon, we're now joined by James Ngoma from the Meteorological Department Services. Good evening, James. Rainfall distribution has been erratic in most parts of the country. Are we likely to continue experiencing this pattern, or is the rainy season over?
Thank you very much for that question. Looking at the season and the season performance, we've had an El Nino season where we have had reduced rainfall across much of Southern Africa, Zimbabwe included, and this has affected most of our rainfall. We had significant falls in October, but that was ensued by a huge dry spell in the month of November, and most of the crops that had been planted early in October dried up because of this dry spell. We then had significant falls in December and January, but these were also ensued by significant dry spell as of the month of February. Then when we got into March, we had a bit of rainfall as well. And as we start the month of April, we're still expecting a bit of dry spell. Then we're expecting moisture to drift in from the west, giving us a few isolated showers in places. But looking at the season in total, it's had significant effects on the agricultural sector, where we've had reduced rainfall affecting most of our crops across the board. But this significant falls in December could have been spread out to evenly distribute in terms of irrigation, where we had a number of areas receiving quite significant amounts that could have been easily harvested and spread through the season so that they sustain the crops through the dry spell. So our constant edge as we face this onset of another wet spell, we still urge people to harvest as much water as possible.
Now, what is the projected weather forecast for this week?
So looking at the week ahead, we're still expecting a start off of mostly sunny conditions for much of the country. But as moisture drifts in from the west, that's from Botswana through Matabeleland north and south, we're expecting a bit of showery weather across much of the country, with heavier falls in the southwestern parts of the country, that's covering Matabeleland south into parts of Bulawayo, as well as parts of the Midlands area. And with that, we still urge you that when thunder rolls, it's best to be indoors. That's all for our weather. It's back to you.
Konapo, ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.